I want you to picture something with me. You check into a motel room. You count the doors. One to the hallway, one to the bathroom. Two doors. That's it. You even joke about it in your head because that's just what a normal motel room looks like. You fall asleep. And when you wake up, there are three. That's not a story I heard from a friend of a friend. That's not something I found on a forum at 2 in the morning. That happened to a woman named Renee, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand why she says she will never, never stay in a roadside motel alone again. Stay with me, because the door wasn't the scariest part. Renee was 29 years old, driving alone from Ohio to Colorado to start a new job. It was late October, the kind of drive where the sun sets around 5 and the highway turns into nothing but headlights and empty fields. She'd planned to make it to Kansas by nightfall, but road construction pushed her back almost 3 hours. By the time she saw the exit sign for a small town, we'll just call it Milburn, because the real name doesn't matter. What matters is what happened there. It was almost 11 at night, and she was too exhausted to keep driving. The motel she found wasn't attached to any chain, just a flat, low building shaped like an L, a flickering sign that read vacancy with the C burnt out, and a parking lot with exactly 4 other cars in it. She almost kept driving. Something about the place made her hesitate for a second longer than usual. But her eyes were heavy. Her coffee had run out around Salina, and the next town was 40 minutes further. So she pulled in. The man at the front desk barely looked up from his old box television. He slid a key across the counter, an actual metal key, not a card, attached to a plastic tag with the number 114 on it. "Last room on the left," he said. "Ice machine's broken. Don't bother." Renee remembers that exchange word for word, because it was the only conversation she had with another human being that night. And later, she'd wish she had asked him one simple question. How old is this building? She didn't ask. She just walked down the outdoor corridor, past dark windows and one room with a television flickering behind thin curtains, until she reached 114. Inside was exactly what you'd expect. A bed with a floral comforter that had seen better decades. A boxy TV bolted to the dresser. A window unit AC humming in the corner. And 2 doors. One led out to the parking lot, the one she'd just walked through. One led to the bathroom, which she checked, because you always check. 2 doors. She remembers counting them, almost like a habit from childhood. "Always know your exits," her father used to say when he was in the army. 2 doors. Locked the main one. Slid the chain across. Got into bed without even changing out of her clothes. And that's the part I need you to remember for later. She counted the doors. 2. She's sure of it. If a story like this pulls you in, this is a good moment to hit subscribe, because I post a new one just like it every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss where this one goes. Somewhere around 2 a.m., Renee woke up. Not from a nightmare, not from a noise outside. She woke up because the room felt different, colder somehow, even though the AC unit hadn't been touched. She lay there for a moment, telling herself it was nothing, the way we all do in unfamiliar rooms at 2 a.m. And then she heard it. A soft, deliberate sound, not a knock, not footsteps. It was the sound of a door being tried, the handle turning, slowly, once, then stopping. Her whole body went rigid. She stared at the main door, the one with the chain across it, waiting for the handle to move again. It didn't. But the sound hadn't come from that direction. It had come from her left, from the wall beside the bathroom door, from a wall that, as far as she knew, only had one door in it. Part 4. 2 doors become 3. Renee didn't move for almost 10 full minutes. She's told this story enough times that she remembers the details with an eerie kind of precision, the way people do when a memory has been replayed in their head hundreds of times since. Eventually, she reached over, turned on the lamp beside the bed, and looked toward the sound. And that's when she saw it. Where the wall beside the bathroom had been solid the night before, she was certain, there was now a second door. Same cheap wood veneer as the bathroom door, same tarnished brass handle. Positioned maybe 4 feet to the left of where the bathroom door stood. 3 doors, in a room that hours earlier only had 2. Renee says her first thought wasn't fear, it was disbelief. The kind where your brain tries so hard to find a logical explanation that it briefly convinces you nothing is wrong. Maybe I miscounted. Maybe I was tired. Maybe there's a connecting room and I just didn't notice the door before. But she had noticed. She'd counted. 2 doors, she was sure. And underneath that new door, the one that wasn't there before, she could see a thin, moving line of shadow. Someone, or something, was standing on the other side of it. For a long moment, nothing happened. No sound. No movement except that sliver of shadow shifting slightly, like something adjusting its weight from one foot to the other. Then came a voice, low, almost gentle. A woman's voice coming from behind the door that shouldn't exist. "You left the light on for me." Renee says those 6 words are burned into her memory more than anything else about that night. Not because they were threatening. On the surface, they almost sounded kind. It was the wrongness of them, the certainty in the voice, as if this stranger had been expecting her, as if this had happened before to someone else, in this exact room. She didn't answer. She didn't move. She barely breathed. The handle on the new door began to turn, slowly. She grabbed her phone off the nightstand, 3:47 a.m., and did the only thing she could think to do. She called the front desk. It rang 4 times. No one answered. Part 6. The Escape. Renee made a decision in that moment that she still can't fully explain, except to say that pure instinct took over. She grabbed her keys, her phone, her shoes, not stopping to put them on, unhooked the chain on the real door with shaking hands, and ran. She didn't look back at the room. She didn't look at the new door. She sprinted down the outdoor corridor in the freezing October air, barefoot on concrete, until she reached her car, locked the doors, and sat there with her heart slamming against her ribs until the sun came up. At 6 a.m., when the sky finally turned gray, she walked back to the front office. A different clerk was there this time, an older woman drinking coffee from a chipped mug. Renee asked her, as calmly as she could manage, whether room 114 had a connecting door to another room. The woman's face changed. Just slightly, just enough for Renee to notice. "No, honey," she said. "That room's never had a connecting door. It's an end unit. Nothing on that side but the electrical closet." Renee didn't go back inside to check. She got in her car and drove straight through to Colorado, stopping only for gas. But months later, and this is the part that turns this from a strange night into something she still loses sleep over, she couldn't stop thinking about that room. So she did some digging. Old newspaper archives, local records, the kind of research you do at 1 a.m. when you tell yourself you'll just look for 5 minutes. She found a short article, nearly 15 years old, about a woman who had gone missing from a motel in that same small town. The article was brief, barely a few sentences, the kind of local story that fades fast and is never followed up on. The woman had checked in alone. Her car was found in the lot the next morning. Her room number was never printed in the article. But Renee says she doesn't need it printed. She already knows. Here's what makes this story different from a lot of the ones I cover on this channel. There's no dramatic ending, no confrontation, no proof, really, beyond a locked memory in one woman's mind and an old newspaper clipping that may or may not be connected at all. But that's exactly why it stays with people. Because most of us have stayed in a room like that one. A forgettable little motel off a forgettable exit in a town we'll never think about again. And most of us never thought to count the doors. So here's the question I'll leave you with, and I genuinely want you to sit with it for a second. If you woke up in an unfamiliar room in the middle of the night, and something on the other side of a door that shouldn't exist told you, "You left the light on for me," would you have run? Or would you have opened it? If this story got under your skin even a little, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel more than you'd think. Drop a comment and tell me what you would have done in that room, because I read every single one, and some of the best stories I've ever covered came from things people shared in the comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe. I bring you a true story just like this every week. Some send chills up your spine. Some are quieter but stranger. And honestly, some are worse than this one. Because next week, I'm telling you about a family who moved into a house with a room that was locked when they bought it. And the realtor swears she never had a key. You're not going to want to miss that one. I'll see you there.